Imperial Fighter build, Master Imperial Citadel Edition. Usual buffs: Fizzy Brew, Steadfast Devotion, Potion of Deflect, and then usually Honey Bread, sometimes Sambucade, and then sometimes you want to switch your Fizzy Brew to Capri, potentially. Stats, ability scores, stacking Strength and Constitution. Strength for the stamina regen, again, and Constitution mainly for the action point gain, because it is useful having that daily full. So base stats: defense, awareness, crit avoid, deflect severity. Obviously these all change based on whether you got your shield up or not. Nice easy 90% awareness, 81% crit avoid. And then the Master Boons also have an effect on this. But they are not all that reliable, so we work with what we got. Base stamina regen, 116%, very nice, comes back very quickly. Stamina regen is very important for a no healer build, no healer run, because you're going to be using your stamina bar basically as a fastly regenerating health bar. Gear wise, as far as I'm concerned, this is the best threat helm in the game, because you can fire it off every 10 seconds. You do quite a significant bit of damage, which gives you a nice little threat boost. Obviously we're running KV as well, so this just helps to keep that threat ticking up. We'll just point out that this MTOS slightly increased threat generation helm is virtually useless. Just don't use it. It's not worth your time. Running a broken set again, because there's still nothing particularly useful for a tank. I know some people run the Tiamat set, but I don't really rate it. Never mind the expense. I've opted for another 6 strength rather than the Constitution, because again I favour stamina regen over stacking HP. Topaz Ring, probably the best, one of the best tank rings in the game, and on a fighter tank the only way you're going to get your deflect severity high enough to make deflect useful is by having this ring on. This one arguably the best tank chest piece in the game. Well, when we run low on stamina, we get a nice 30% stamina regen boost, and otherwise it's 15% critical avoidance and awareness, 7.5 each. These arms can help counteract the stat loss from the chest piece when your stamina runs low. And they also have a nice bit of deflect severity potential on them. The threat ring is it's actually not necessarily necessary on the first boss or the second boss, but it is very useful on the last boss to pick up those mobs and drag them away from the DPS. If you weren't running that ring, your team may want you to run the Grace ring, although for the no healer build I'd probably go for something like the Ring of Darkness. Obviously lowering the enemy's accuracy effectively increases your deflect. Yeah, there's other options. Could run the Manticore ring. That's quite a good one as well. That is good one for threat when you're not able to attack. But yeah, switch as and when you need to. Opted for a Strength Con Waste, again for more stamina regen. Now in this dungeon I would favour these Moondancer weapons over the new weapons. You do get very slightly more from the new weapons, but there's a weird, well, not weird, it's basically a new conditional stack situation they've applied to it. So it can become very much not useful very quickly. So yeah, stick to these. The version from Advanced would work just as well. Well, not just as well, but similar sort of thing. We're basically using these ones for the massive amount of damage reduction we get. -6% incoming damage is absolutely huge, especially on a no healer run. Especially when it gets doubled to 12% in wild space. We are running the Mythallar as a main. I've said for a while that Mythallar is a tank artifact because we have the 12% stamina regen, and previously it was the highest item level stamina regen artifact that we had, so it's nice to be able to run this. This is a bit of potential extra healing. We're having to stack quite a lot of potential extra healing things because we've got very little other options for regenerating HP. And this just helps bump up the defense a bit as well. Now this is an absolutely fantastic new artifact, which I'm very glad that they have updated and brought back, or made more relevant. A nice big chunk of stamina regen. And unfortunately, the other two stamina regen artifacts are much lower item level and give much lower stamina regen, but they do give stamina regen, and that is the whole point. These boots are in here because it's just quite useful for the extra item level and a bit of extra damage resistance. Could be an argument made for the old Dragonsteel Sabatons, but we can get our deflect where we want it to be without needing that. Some people would probably run the updated version of these as well, the Dragon Hunt ones. I am not personally a fan of things that situationally increase your HP like this. I know some people really like them, but especially in a no healer run where you don't get it proccing off critical heals, something like this could cause a lot of trouble. Like massive unusual spikes in HP can be quite disconcerting. Enchantments, just what we need to get our stats where we want them to be. Defense doesn't matter that much, but you'd probably go combat advantage or power. Those are the ones that will give you consistent damage. Overload's just basic. Now I tried running both the flash freeze and the fortified nature. I think with the boost that this flash freeze has got, it's actually more useful now than it was. So with those 3 stacks on, 18% reduced outgoing damage. Yeah, that's much more significant than the potential stat gain that we'd get from the fortified nature. Although we do miss out on that heal, but we also don't get one shot, so useful. Powers wise, for the first boss we got the bull charge on, so we can knock that scorpion away, which we very much need to do, because if we get those stacks of the scorpion on us whilst we've got no healer, it can cause a lot of problems. For the second boss I'd usually put Knight's Challenge on. Not for any reason really, just, you know, can get a nice quick boost of stamina. I don't know, you could put Iron Warrior on, I suppose. And then the last boss we go Line Breaker, so that we can get all those mobs and get to those mobs quickly if we need to. Threatening Rush standard. Brazen Slash for the stamina restoration, very important. Extra bit of movement speed is always nice. And then the Steel Recovery once again. We've got Determination on, so if we're in a seriously awkward moment, that's what we do. I think all the damage in this dungeon can actually be blocked with Determination, so it can be very useful. And then we've got Second Wind on, which is again situationally useful for the HP recovery and just that quick boost to hit points. So boons, we've got all of the healing boons on, or all the medicine boons on. This will just give a nice extra bump to our rejuvenation potions. And incoming healing, which I am pretty sure does affect self heals, but I haven't actually properly tested that. And of course, stamina regen. Death Bulwark, very useful. Focused retaliation, extra deflect and deflect severity. Then blast advantage, blast resilience. I haven't actually tested whether that procs off a rejuvenation potion or a health stone, so that's something I should probably look into. But if it were to, it would be very useful. Just gone for what we need to make the stats look nice here. And then I currently have movement speed bonus on, but chances are you're going to be looking at Revive Sickness on the first boss in particular. Yeah, well, probably all the bosses, to be fair. I did manage to go through a run with no healer, where the only point I died was in one of the mob phases in the beginning, but obviously for most runs the Revive Sickness is probably going to be what you're looking for. Okay, so again, specific to the no healer run, we've got the Riotous Orothe. His damage reduction is incredibly useful. Yeah. So that's partly useful for the tank, but also useful for the DPS. Because the DPS are the ones who are copping it quite a lot versus the tank. And that Show No Fear is pretty useful as well. Other options, again specifically for the no healer build, would be Golden Lion. In a healer run, it's just going to be whatever they want you on. Probably a tutor or a Drit. And a Minotaur or an AoE. Yeah, just picked these up for the additional item level, and the split crit avoid and deflection was pretty useful. I've got the armor break enhancement on at the minute. If I were particularly struggling, if there's like a very laggy instance and we had no healer, I might put redemption on. But I didn't for that no healer run earlier. So here we're taking advantage of the Regis and the Bruna to get a few extra stats. But this is exactly the same as all my other builds. It's there's nothing special changed here, particularly for the no healer run. We've still got Raptor's Instincts on. If you're in a group that isn't running Raptor, the new companion is got quite a nice one. So if you're going to do a no healer run yourself, then the rest of the DPS don't need you to run a Raptor. Try running with that, it could do some good. And Mount Rise. Standard tank mount. Potentially E-line. E-line is actually quite useful to run on the first boss, so you can blow away the Scorpion and then bull charge it afterwards. And it has a nice little bit of magnitude on it as well, so that can help with threat. Main change here that we've made is putting Providence on. This helps everybody in a no healer run. It's a potential occasional heal and also a bit of a damage boost. So I actually think it's one of the most underrated equip powers in the game. And this is the same as usual as well, or same as the most recent build. We've got 3 self heals going on here. Champion's Return being the previous version of Lionheart's Preservation, I believe. Perseverance. So yeah, that's about it for this one. If you've got any questions, ask them in the comments. Thanks for watching.